To the City of Hartford Public Works Committee meeting. Today is Tuesday, November 25th, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. And roll call, all committee members are present. All right, public comment period. Is anyone wishing to comment or come up to the podium, state your name, address? You got a few minutes to tell us whatever you'd like to discuss. Call 2, anyone wishing to come up, and call 3. All right. Next item, discussion and consideration of accepting the proposed North Main Street speed zone location adjustment to match the new jurisdictional limits as proposed. Who's got this one?
That'd be Chris.
Chris?
Yep, so back in February of '24, the right-of-way for this area of Main Street was adjusted with the jurisdictional transfer from the town of Hartford, and it moved north about 2,100 feet. The current city ordinance, as it's referenced in the executive summary, states that the speed limit on North Main Street shall be 35 miles an hour from Settlement Road to the north city limit. So we're effectively changing, or we did change the north city limit, and therefore the recommendation is to move the current speed zone location north to match the new jurisdictional limit, which will also align with the current ordinance.
Are you able to see the graph which he's showing right now?
Or
No.
the map?
Yeah. Tiffany, if you can pull that up.
Oh,
We thought it was cordless, sorry.
Yeah. The Bluetooth wasn't working. All right, let's try that. Anything now?
there it is.
Okay, so yeah, sorry, that would have made a little more sense, but, so just calls off the new location and the previous right-of-way limit.
That's you.
And in addition to the 35 mile an hour zone, there'll also be a speed zone ahead further north, just off this map, but it'll, both of those signs will be shifted, is the proposal.
All right. All right, discussion. Any members? Wayne?
How far beyond Copper Trails Road does it go? Where does, for lack of a better term, Bill Ohm's driveway?
I would say, correct, yeah, that's accurate, right. You can see
Okay.
his driveway on the north end, that's right.
We don't call it Bill Ohm's driveway, but that's,
But that's the location, correct.
okay,
It's-
that's the end, okay.
And that would be obviously a right-hand read, so people coming south on Main Street will see that?
Correct.
Sure.
Anyone else?
Motion to approve.
All right, got a motion approved by Jeff. Second?
Second.
Second by Wayne. All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes. All right, second item, discussion and consideration of approving the installation of eastbound and westbound stop signs at the intersection of Yellowstone Drive and Pheasant Run Road / Big Bend Way.
Okay, so on October 7th, early this year, just last month, the Borland Farms Homeowners Association contacted the city requesting consideration for additional stop signs at some location on Yellowstone Drive. City staff evaluates all of these requests, including Public Works, Police, Engineering, and it was determined that adding 2 stop signs at the intersection shown on the map there at Yellowstone with its Big Bend Way to the south and Pheasant Run Road to the north is a warranted to add stop signs at that location. There's Homestead Park on the corner that generates a lot of pedestrian traffic, and with the future phases of Copper Trails that's in the works, that's only gonna grow. There's a bus stop at that location as well, and it's right now it's an artery of that subdivision, but it's all free flowing. And as I noted in the executive summary, speed has been a part of the concern that was brought up, but we try not to use stop signs directly to, just to mitigate speed alone. So we looked at all these other factors and And the recommendation is to add 2 stop signs eastbound and westbound at this intersection, making it a 4-way stop.
Okay, my question, which one had the most traffic on? Bradley Way or the,
Big,
yeah, should be. Oh, no, it got turned off.
Big Bend Way or Pheasant Run, you're
Yeah.
asking?
Yeah,
I think they were, I don't have those numbers, I can get them to you, but they were very similar. There might have been more to the north, just because it is a outlet to North Main,
okay.
but they were fairly similar.
Jeff, you got a?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I live in a subdivision. There's been a lot of consideration on this for like the last couple of years. It's not so much about Big Bend Way or Pheasant, it's the thoroughfare that runs through there, right? And that's a park, and I've worked with the police chief on this for like over a year or so. So, yeah, it's warranted, and I highly recommend that we consider this in a positive manner.
All right, any other questions or?
Looks good.
No? All right, let's have a motion.
Then I'll make a motion.
Second.
All right. Motion by Jeff, seconded by Dean. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next item, discussion and consideration of accepting the proposed jurisdictional transfer of the traffic signal at Highway 60 and Kettle Moraine Drive, as well as enter into a traffic signal operation and maintenance agreement.
So DOT has an upcoming project on Highway 60 from Wayside Drive in Hartford all the way to Highway 41. And that construction, my understanding is planned for 2027. And as you probably know, DOT plans these projects quite a bit in advance, and this is one of them. But as part of that, they're upgrading a lot of the signals. This is one signal within those limits that is not owned by the state. And so they approached us about upgrading this signal. And the discussion turned into ownership and the possibility of a jurisdictional transfer of that signal that would be upgraded during the project. So again, just familiarity with, this is a map showing the location of it. I think everyone is probably aware of where this is at. The signals on either side of it are both about 1.5 miles away. One of them, closest signal westbound is about 1.4 miles away at Pike Lake Drive, and then eastbound is 1.6 miles at Bonding Lane in Slinger. And if I can get to the next slide. So the top photo there is the current signal as it sits today at 60 and Kettle Moraine. And the bottom photo is an example of what the upgrade will look like following the DOT project. You can see there's a signal for each lane essentially. And there's it's called a monotube base on the right. It's just one big arm that swings out across the entire length of the lanes to that island. And there's just, additional signage for walks in the area as well. So I guess the point of it is, yeah, they want to upgrade it, but for us to give them, jurisdictional ownership of that as well. And I've talked with Director of Public Works, and there's not a lot of benefit, or I should say, there's not a lot of drawback for us to give that to them. We're not in the business of taking on more and more maintenance, so this is something that makes sense with us because of the distance to those adjacent signals, the queue time. We're not really worried about signal timing and backups or anything like that. And it makes sense for them to take this on. It's less future maintenance costs and operation costs for us. So therefore, we're recommending to approve of the jurisdictional transfer agreement for this signal.
All right, discussion. Dean?
Tony, I got a question. It's kind of related to the bottom photo, but over in West Bend, they seem to be outlining every light with yellow, bright yellow, like a frame. And I'm wondering, does the state do that, or does the municipality do that? I'm just wondering if that kind of a framing will be done
Yeah.
on these lights as well.
I'm familiar with what you're talking about, and this upgrade that was done, this example is if you can read that, it's at 164 down in Pewaukee again. That could have been upgraded, 5 years ago. I'm not positive when that is, but the newer ones, my gut feeling is that may be a City of West Bend preference, but I can certainly find out from DOT if that's something that they,
I just wonder if
Do-
if they're planning on doing that to all traffic signals, and if there's a real benefit to it, if it's easier to see from a distance, or.
yeah, I think you're probably correct that that's the case, that's why they do it. And if that's going to be part of the upgrade, I can easily find that out and get back to you.
Okay, thanks. That I would move for the adoption of this.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions? All right, motion by Dean, second, anyone?
Second.
Seconded by Wayne. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next item, discussion and consideration of authorizing the mayor to execute a public construction contract with Advanced Construction, 2141 Wooddale Ave, Green Bay, Wisconsin. I'm not going to do the zip code, for the shower drive extension project for the bid amount of $361,108.75.
All right, this is the last project on our 2025 CIP budget. You're probably familiar with the new fire station site is adjacent to this extension of Shower Drive. It's about 400 feet of roadway along with sanitary, storm sewer, and water main improvements. This view you're looking at is just a design plan sheet for the project showing those noted improvements. On November 18th, bids were received for this project, and there were 8 bids, and a 9th one that came about 15 minutes late, which we didn't accept. But regardless, there was a lot of interest in the project, and it was a good timing to get this fit in for contractors, even though it's a small project. And as noted, Advanced Construction out of Green Bay is the low bidder out of for $361,000. The utility construction, so sewer water work, is planned to be done over winter, and then the pavement work and concrete curb and gutter and so forth will be completed in the spring. The budget for this project was approximately $430,000, and therefore staff recommends award of the bid to Advanced Construction in the amount of $361,108.75.
Nice. Questions? Have we done much work with Advanced Construction?
I don't believe that Advance has done a lot of work recently in the city of Hartford. I have personally worked with them at previous employment and have been very happy with their crews and their level of quality of work.
Okay, I just didn't recognize their name.
Yeah.
Wayne?
On projects like this, Chris, how many of these contractors go under the bid, or how many of them go over that bid when the project's being completed?
Oh, just as far
Are
as
they
work.
locked in at 361?
Gotcha, yeah. So there are change orders, but I would say most of it is going to be within 5 to 10% of that number.
Okay.
And that could be over or under. There are,
So it can go either way then?
yeah, sometimes there's bid items that are built into the project, like undercutting for the road that may not be necessary. There may be rock excavation that you build into that bid, and that may not be necessary. So you try to capture all those costs competitively at the beginning of the bid, and they're not always used, but there's also change orders that are unforeseen conditions, and that would
Goes
push it up
over, yeah.
over that, but,
What if it goes under? Do we ever get any money back?
oh, yeah, absolutely. Whatever the
Let's say they
cost.
do it for
uh,
320. you
Yeah,
know.
and it maybe where, we only needed, 30 feet less of water main for some reason, whatever it may be. We're paying them at a unit price for that You know, there's some items like traffic control that are lump sum, and that's kind of a all or nothing. But most of these are unit price items that are, you know, that are justifiably like adjusted for that total amount. And yeah, they don't automatically get that full contract amount. It will be paid as forth, and that comes down to management of the project by, you know, myself, or if we hire, you know, a firm for inspection. But in this case, we'll do it ourselves. But it's just managing that work that they're doing and
All right,
tracking
thank you.
it.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Sure.
Anyone else? We have a motion. Dean, motion, any second?
I'll second.
All right, Wayne? All right,
Seeing as we're going to save some money, maybe.
yeah. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed, and motion carried. All right, next item is the 2060 Transportation Network Sustainability Plan, sorry.
Sure. So, Scott Schmidt, who's, I don't think he's here yet, but he's the highway commissioner for Washington County. He's going to speak a little bit about this during the council meeting. Again, this is more of just an informational item, but it is something that they requested. So back in, I think it was earlier 24, it predates my start here, but it was either early 24 or even prior to that, Washington County reached out to the city about essentially collaborating to create this long-term transportation plan specifically for the city of Hartford. So they worked with multiple departments to obtain data on street inventory condition, utility conditions, age of the utilities, plan developments that are coming up, so forth. That data was compiled into a draft report that's enclosed with the packet in effort to create a methodology for generating long-term comprehensive transportation plan. And they're undertaking this effort for all communities within the county at no cost to these municipalities. I think their goal is to just create this, countywide plan for, individualized for these municipalities, but just to provide that service to the communities, and it's a benefit for us because we want to have a long-term plan that has some kind of a model to follow. And there's a number of different ways to do this, and tons of consultants that we could pay a lot of dollars to look into this and do studies and that kind of thing. So this is just a framework that we can, use and update year in and year out and utilize for planning purposes and for transportation needs as we move, year to year and decade by decade. So like I said, Scott Schmidt will talk a little bit more about that during the council meeting, but I can answer any questions you have now as well.
Any questions? No? All right. Next item was the 2026 sidewalk program.
Yep, so last item for now, for me to present to you is the 26 sidewalk program that we bring before Public Works to just kind of more or less give you a heads up on the scope of work that we're doing for 2026. This map shows that, has a listing of these same streets that are on that map. We target areas of the city every year based on our own evaluation. Some of it's based on feedback, but this is the area that we're looking at for 26, and we just wanted to bring that to your attention and address any questions or concerns that may be there. Once these evaluation of the defective sidewalks is complete, we'll put together a bid package and bring that again before Public Works, as usual, for approval of that work before it's done.
Awesome. Any questions? No? Have you gotten many calls from people saying, hey, our sidewalk needs repair or anything like that?
I mean, we do get that, and then we remind them of the state statute and said, you're welcome to replace the sidewalk, and you're responsible for replacing the sidewalk in front of your property, and you can do that at any given time, and it's just a permit process. Obviously, there's a benefit for them when we have a, volume of work that's done under a contract, that unit price is pushed down, and it's usually more economic to do it during this kind of a project. So we try to limit it to this area and not do, every request that's out there. There may be some areas that we include with the annual program. But yes, we have got calls, and there've been a number in this area, and there's other areas that we, answer those questions as they come in, and if there's more than one area, we'll try to include it, in the program.
One of the things too is if you ever get a phone call from somebody, and I think we just had one not too long ago, somebody was reporting a crack or a trip hazard in her sidewalk and said, when's the city going to fix that? And we're like, well, the answer is when we get to that section of the city, we will look at it. However, if it's truly a trip hazard, you can fix it immediately. The city doesn't pay for that through their taxes. It's a special assessment back to them. So I don't remember hearing from her after we told her that it's all of a sudden now fixed.
All right, Dean?
Is it all done through replacement, or, I know I talked to somebody earlier this year about the possibility of mud jacking in instances where you just need to bring it up a little. So do they look at mud jacking at all as an alternative to tearing it out and totally replacing?
We haven't in the past. I know you brought it up, and, we haven't obviously gone through a cycle since that was brought up. But if there was somebody that came to us and said, hey, we want to address this with mud jacking, we would certainly, look at that and keep an eye on it if it's something that holds up. And that's a form of mitigating that defective crack or trip hazard, then we'll, or not a crack, I shouldn't say that, a trip hazard, then we would allow that as a, as an approved fix.
But keep in mind, mud jacking is for those cement pieces, squares, as it would be, that have fallen. Normally, what it is a square will actually rise due to something underneath it. It could be the tree, the street tree that has a vine that comes across the bottom of that, and again, lifts that up, and so it causes trip hazard. The result there is mud jacking would not help, or else you just keep jacking up the problem. What you need to do then is shave off the trip hazard, which can be up to about a quarter inch, half inch of shaving, which again eliminates the trip hazard, so.
Okay, anyone else?
Yeah, I was going to ask about shaving, because I know several instances where you just shaved it, and actually it's nice and smooth and solves the problem.
Yeah, right. I think that criteria is three quarters of an inch or less, and that's, usually we've had good luck with that. And not that it couldn't settle and still have an offset there, but yeah, that if they're
Yeah, you
able
don't
to.
have that blunt edge, at least.
Right, and then they aren't charged replacement costs for that. It's cheaper for the property owner as well.
Well, who makes that determination?
The city staff will do that, and sometimes if it's really on the edge, we'll say, hey, if you want to, you can choose option A or B, and we'll provide that
Okay, so
information.
it's not just the discretion of who's ever tearing out sidewalk.
Correct. No,
Okay,
we'll provide options to them with costs that, once we've got the bids, so.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, next item, snow plowing and salting procedures for the city of Hartford.
Good timing.
Yeah. All right.
Good evening. So every year we bring this before Public Works, our snow plowing and salting procedures and operations. So in the city of Hartford, we maintain roughly 90 miles of roadways and connecting highways. Depending on the moisture content and temperature, it greatly affects how we attack the winter storm. On a normal salting operation, it takes us about 2 hours with 4 trucks. We hit the main roads first. Same as plowing. We're going to hit the main roads first, and then we have priorities such as industrial parks, schools. On a Sunday morning, we'll definitely hit churches and get into secondaries, cul-de-sacs, dead ends, alleys. Those are definitely at the end of the list. followed by parking lots, and then we get out to the airport. Ultimately, we get on sidewalks and take care of all those.
Have you got your supply of salt in for the year, Tim?
We do. The shed's full, so we're starting with a full supply as of now.
Wayne?
When you do your plowing, do you change the pattern? Like, one time I'm at 6 in the morning, next time I'm at 11 in the morning. Is that normal for all streets? Or do you do everybody at the same time, all winter long?
No, I mean, I guess it all depends on if we have, like I said, you got churches on a Sunday morning, we're gonna be out there,
Sure.
taking care of those. It's not like we hit the same areas, the same timeline.
No.
It all depends on, I guess the worst conditions.
Sure.
And, what roads are most frequently traveled during the storm.
So nothing's cast in concrete?
No,
then?
absolutely not.
We got to reverse the pattern or reverse the procedure?
No,
Okay,
I mean,
good.
we just move through the route, and
Makes sense.
where it needs it, it needs it.
Of course, it always depends upon when the snow starts and when the snow is predicted to end, too.
Sure.
In that situation, again, if it's going to snow in the morning and end about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you might be getting hit about 6 or 7 o'clock at night.
Sure.
Whereas if it's an overnight storm, again, they'll be out there during the storm, and then as soon as it's over, then they start the normal cleanup procedure.
Tim, are you going to be able to get all the leaves picked up tomorrow?
I don't know if we'll make it completely through the city, but we're doing everything we can.
Well, for anybody that's watching that has leaves out in front of your house, back your cars away from it so the guys can get their equipment in there to get them picked up so they won't be buried in snow come Monday morning.
Absolutely, the more room, the better for getting the leaves cleared, definitely.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Next is the 2026 City of Hartford Information Brochure for garbage and recycling rules and requirements.
So every December, we send out the garbage and recycling informational brochure. It goes out to roughly 5,200 residents. In this brochure, you can find the calendars for garbage and recycling. The recycling is highlighted in there to list the biweekly pickup. There's so much information in there. The recycling center drop-off times, what we accept at the recycling center, Friday pickup, excessive garbage pickup. There's so much information. The one major change that is listed in there this year is the trailer rental went from $20 to $50. Outside of that, the only changes we made were to pretty much some verbiage just to try to clarify and make it easier for people to understand how to stack their brush piles. So really, the only change is the trailer in the brochure.
Okay. Any other questions?
Have we any problems, Tim, with town of Hartford residents sneaking stuff into our place?
Yes, we try to keep it in check. I think twice this year, we had 2 guys on a Saturday in the recycling center just checking IDs, making sure. And frequently, we'll just ask, when somebody's dropping something off, hey,
Sure.
what's your address? Not that we necessarily ask for ID, but if they come up with it real quick, they're a city resident.
Okay.
So we try to keep it in check, definitely.
Sure.
Good.
And I think one of the best things we've got in Hartford is that $15 sticker for Friday pickups, whether it's furniture, appliances, whatever it is. These guys are picking it up, so.
Yep.
You got
That's
it.
awesome.
Yeah, it's very well used. I mean, a lot of residents do use the services we provide.
Good. All right. Anything else? No? Next item, discussion and consideration of repealing and recreating Chapter 23 of the code entitled Solid Waste Recycling.
So a little background on this. Chapter 23, we're looking at repealing and putting new code into effect for the reason of the state's recycling guidelines. The state changed, and in order to get our grant through the state, we have to basically mimic what the state changed. So really, there's some recyclable items that in the past haven't been recyclable. With technology now and being able to reuse some of these items, they have to be recycled. One thing that they did change, major change, was they want oil filters not going into a landfill. So in the past, people would put their oil filters in their garbage can. That can no longer happen. And we do accept oil filters at the recycling center. However, you got to crush them, get the oil out, then they can be recycled as steel. They can go into steel recycling, as long as the oil is taken out of the filters through the crushing process. There's some other updates they made as far as the size of containers that you need to have at a residence versus, you have to have so much recycling capability versus your garbage capacity. So it was verbiage there. And then we kind of cleaned up certain things in there as far as containers. It was written as, in the ordinance, the old ordinance, there was the small containers, if you guys remember when they had recycling, the guy would jump out, pick that small container. So that was still in there. We just cleaned it up and made it, it's basically up to date.
All right.
Good.
Any other questions?
That oil filter thing, good luck on that.
Yes. We do get quite a few in the recycling center.
Discussion,
People bring them in.
consideration.
Yeah, we need a motion.
I'll motion for.
All right, motion by Jeff,
Second.
second by Dean. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next item, adjournment.
Move to adjourn?
All right, motion by Wayne, second,
Second.
second by Dean. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
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 And motion carries. We are adjourned.